Hello, my brilliant cosmic particles! Welcome to the infinite playground of ideas, ready to shatter the boundaries of what you think is possible. Ah, there you are! I was just recalibrating the multiverse. Come in. Here at the Science Agency, we believe that reality isn't just what it seems. It's a playground of endless potential. They say the universe is serious business, but I say it's the most exhilarating experiment waiting to be explored. Today, we're firing up our improbability engine and plugging in a very, very strange variable. Yes, a wild, bizarre thought experiment that will blow your mind. So, fasten your neural seatbelts because this is going to be a weird, wonderful quantum roller coaster. Get ready to question everything you thought you knew about the universe. Phase 1. You wake up one morning and everything feels off. The sky is still the same familiar blue, but something's radically different beneath your feet. Imagine, just for a second, that the North and South poles have instantaneously flipped overnight. Yes, overnight, like Earth hit the cosmic reset button while you were asleep. And that changes everything. The magnetic poles, those invisible but mighty guardians of our planet, have suddenly swapped places. It's as if the Earth's magnetic compass just decided to switch careers in the middle of the night, leaving us all utterly disoriented. Can you hear the chaotic symphony of the world adjusting? The magnetic field, which normally shields us from the relentless solar radiation, begins to wobble, flicker, and perhaps even flick out like a bad neon sign. Picture the auroras, those shimmering ribbons of light twisting into bizarre new patterns, no longer confined to the poles but dancing wildly across the sky like cosmic firecrackers gone rogue. And the feeling? It's a mix of awe and impending doom, like standing on the edge of a cosmic roller coaster, waiting for the crazy descent. The planet's magnetic shield, that invisible force field, is now in chaos cut loose and flapping in the solar wind like a flag in a hurricane. What if this sudden flip destabilizes Earth's magnetic environment long term? Would our compass apps still work? Would migratory birds get lost in the cosmic shuffle? And this is where it gets interesting, because if the magnetic poles are no longer trustworthy, our entire understanding of navigation, animal migration, and even the very safety of our atmosphere could spiral into that much stranger territory. This is just the beginning. What other absurd chain reactions could unfold from this cosmic flip? Write it down in the comments. My quantum toaster needs new ideas. Phase 2. Imagine the entire planet suddenly waking up in a mirror universe where the magnetic poles have performed the most dramatic magic trick in the cosmos swapped places. It's as if Earth's invisible compass needle just decided to flip you the bird and change direction overnight. And oh, what a cacophony of chaos ensues! Birds that once navigated by the gentle pull of magnetic fields now flap their wings in bewilderment. Migratory patterns scrambled like a jigsaw puzzle thrown into a tornado. The delicate dance of fish, turtles, and bees, all synchronized by magnetism, is thrown into a wild, frantic shuffle. They're swimming backwards, flying upside down, and buzzing in confusion. Much stranger. Just imagine the sounds chirping, honking, and buzzing in a disoriented symphony of chaos as species scramble to decode this new magnetic map. And this is where it gets interesting. Species that once relied on magnetic cues for survival must innovate or perish. Some creatures might start using celestial navigation, staring at stars like ancient sailors lost at sea. Others might develop new biological antennas, supercharged senses, or even bizarre behaviors that we can't even dream of yet. And that changes everything. The environment itself feels upside down, compasses spin wildly, and Earth's magnetic hum becomes an eerie alien song. You see, this magnetic reversal isn't just a switch, it's a full-blown biological upheaval, rewriting the evolutionary script in ways we can't even fathom. That's just one of the consequences. What other absurd chain reaction can you think of? Write it down in the comments. My quantum toaster needs new ideas. Phase 3, pause 2S. Welcome to the atmospheric and climatic chaos extravaganza. Just imagine, the Earth's magnetic flip has not only turned your compass into a rebellious toddler, but has also unleashed a cosmic party crasher. Solar and cosmic radiation now flooding our atmosphere like a wild, unstoppable rave. The sky, oh, it is no longer the serene blue we took for granted. Instead, picture swirling, shimmering curtains of ultraviolet and gamma rays dancing across the heavens like a neon-lit carnival from a universe that forgot to read the rulebook. And the sounds. Do you hear the crackle and hum of this new radiation symphony? A constant, unpredictable drone that feels like the Earth itself is humming a chaotic tune. Meanwhile, the climate, it's gone completely bonkers. Think of weather systems that are hyperactive, mood swings so violent they make teenage tantrums look tame. Hurricanes spinning in opposite directions on the same continent, droughts that turn lush rainforest into deserts overnight, and snow falling in the middle of summer, much, much stranger. And the atmosphere itself? Well, it's changing its composition, letting in more cosmic particles. Imagine breathing in a cocktail of alien chemicals that might make you glow in the dark or turn your hair into a rainbow. All of this chaos, it's fundamentally ripping apart the delicate balance that keeps life ticking. And that changes everything. Now, just picture the planet as a wild, unpredictable beast, constantly shifting, constantly surprising. And it's just one of the consequences. What other absurd chain reaction can you think of? Write it down in the comments. My quantum toaster needs new ideas. Phase 4, my fellow cosmic explorers, and hold on to your hats because things are about to get much, much stranger. Imagine a sudden titanic magnetic shift rippling through Earth like a colossal, invisible earthquake on steroids. The magnetic forces that usually gently cradle our planet's core now become wild, uncontrollable beasts, causing the very crust beneath your feet to writhe and tremble. And this, my friends, is where the chaos truly begins. Just picture the ground cracking open with a deafening roar, like a giant cosmic zipper ripping apart the fabric of reality. The crust, seized by this sudden stress, begins to fracture into jagged, monstrous shards, shifting continents and ocean floors in a frantic dance of dislocation. Volcanoes, those fiery, grumpy giants, explode in a frenzy of ash and molten rock, spewing chaos into the sky as if Earth itself was throwing a cosmic tantrum. You'd hear the deafening symphony of cracking rocks, rumbling eruptions, and the distant howl of collapsing mountains. The smell of sulfur and ash would fill the air, mixing with the scent of burnt ozone, a reminder that the planet is rewriting itself in the most dramatic way possible, and that changes everything. Suddenly, the very shape of our world is unrecognizable, a chaotic mosaic of upheaval and transformation. The landscape reshaped in moments, a brutal, fiery sculpture of Earth's new, chaotic soul. So, what's next? That's just one of the consequences. What other absurd chain reaction can you think of? Write it down in the comments. My quantum toaster needs new ideas. Phase 5, pause 2S, welcome to the chaos, my fellow explorers of the absurd. Imagine, just for a wild second, that the magnetic fields we rely on for navigation, those invisible, humming lines of Earth's own cosmic GPS, disappear overnight. Gone! Poof! Like a magician's trick, but with much, much stranger consequences. Your compass, useless. Your phone, dead as a doornail. And that changes everything. Suddenly, the world turns into a giant, chaotic carnival of confusion. Ships drift aimlessly in the oceans, their radar screens flickering with static, while airplanes perform bizarre aerial ballet, zigzagging like drunken fireflies. Military operations? utterly lost. Missiles misfire, drones crash into each other, and GPS-guided tanks become glorified paperweights. And your daily commute, imagine the streets filling with honking, screeching, and frantic improvisation as drivers try to navigate without their trusty magnetic north. Sensory overload, a cacophony of horns, alarms, and the frantic shouts of people desperately trying to find their way. And here's a twist. Societies must reinvent navigation from scratch, back to the age of stars, celestial cues, or even bizarre, primitive methods like observing the direction of moss and the flight patterns of insects. And that's where the madness really kicks in. Some communities might regress technologically, clinging to ancient ways, while others invent radical new systems. Think magnetic, less GPS gadgets, powered by quantum entanglement or psychic signals. The streets become a living, breathing chaos, a wild dance of human ingenuity and sheer madness. And that, my friends, that changes everything. So tell me, what other absurd chain reactions could this magnetic catastrophe ignite? Write it down in the comments. My quantum toaster needs new ideas. Phase 6. Oh, my brilliant, chaotic explorers! Now, picture this, a world where your trusty biological compass, the magnetic sense that guides everything from tiny microbes to majestic humans, suddenly goes haywire. Imagine microorganisms swimming in what feels like a wild cosmic roller coaster, their internal magnetic fields spinning like DJ turntables at a chaos rave. And you, yes you, are caught in this magnetic meltdown, desperately trying to find north only to realize there is no north anymore. Just like that, evolution throws a cosmic curveball and life must adapt or face extinction. So, what happens? Well, over generations, creatures develop bizarre new ways to navigate. Some might start relying on celestial cues, like gazing at the starry sky with the fervor of a cosmic lighthouse. Others could evolve entirely new sensory modalities, perhaps perceiving faint electric fields or even the whispers of cosmic radiation, turning them into biological GPS. Imagine a world where fish sense Earth's shifting magnetism through their fins and birds communicate by flickering bioluminescent signals that dance in the sky, all because the magnetic map got scrambled. And this is where it gets insanely interesting. These adaptations could lead to entirely new evolutionary pathways, spawning species that see the universe through sights we can't even comprehend. The chaos of magnetic flux becomes the catalyst for a biological renaissance, one that rewrites the very fabric of perception. That changes everything. Now, just think, how would your own senses evolve if magnetic cues vanished overnight? That's just one of the consequences. What other absurd chain reactions can you think of? Write it down in the comments. My quantum toaster needs new ideas. Phase 7, pause, 2 seconds, and here we go. The planet has finally settled into its new magnetic dance, flipping its poles like a cosmic pancake, flipping, flipping, flipping. And what does that mean for you and me? Well, buckle up, because Earth's new magnetic configuration is nothing short of a chaos symphony. The magnetic field, that invisible force field that guides compasses, animal migrations, and even some of our own brainwaves, has gone rogue. Imagine the skies flickering with auroras in bizarre patterns, like cosmic neon signs spelling out, "Surprise everything!" Changed. Sound familiar? That's right. Your GPS is now as reliable as a squirrel with a caffeine addiction. Pause, 2 C's, but the real madness begins underground. The Earth's core, confused as a cat in a cucumber patch, is recalibrating, sending seismic shivers and volcanic eruptions into a new rhythm. And above ground animals, those clever little survivalists, are flipping their migration routes. Polar bears now wandering into tropical jungles, and penguins throwing beach parties in the Sahara. You feel the ground hum beneath your feet, a strange thrum of chaos and rebirth. The atmosphere itself has become a wild playground. Radio signals bouncing erratically, the sky constantly shifting colors like a psychedelic light show designed by a mad artist. And this changes everything. The Earth is no longer just a planet. It's a living, breathing, magnetic Frankenstein, reassembled into a much, much stranger creature. That is just one of the consequences. What other absurd chain reaction can you think of? Write it down in the comments. My quantum toaster needs new ideas.